Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I got this email from Mario, and I've gotten kind of questions about this quite a bit in the past. So I thought I'd answer this question basically around specialization and niching or niching. I hate that word. It's so hard to say. Niche. I don't know. People say niche. Niche sounds kind of like my niche. But anyway, so I thought I'd answer this question now because I'm actually sort of doing or in the process of doing what I'm going to suggest here, and sort of and I think this will address some of the issues that people have when I talk about specializing, when I talk about have a very narrow focus, because I think this gets really misunderstood. This is probably the thing that I explain the most and that is debated the most. But anyway, so basically, let's start out by saying this. I normally advise people to specialize, right? If you take my blogging course, if you sign up, just go to devcareerboost.com/blogging-course. I'll put a link in the description below. But anyway, if you go there and sign up for my blogging course, one of the first things I do is I tell you in lesson 1 to get it themed, to pick a theme for your blog. And I tell you about the power of specialization. And if you purchase my How to Market Yourself course, same thing. I'm telling you about specialization again. And I'm not going to rehash all this. You can watch some of my other videos about specialization. But essentially, what I'm telling you to do is to specialize down to as small of a niche as possible, right? Because what you want to do is you want to be the big fish in the small pond, right? So you want to pick something very, very minute, very small and narrowly focused, so that you can be the absolute expert in that space, because there's no one else that is so specific. I was talking to someone a couple of weeks ago at this non-job summit that I went to, is an entrepreneurship kind of summit, and they are talking about doing like starting a new business with lean processing or lean manufacturing for companies. And I kind of jokingly, but really not jokingly, said to him, hey, you need to niche that down. Niche that, dang it, I said niche. Niche that down even further. And even maybe you do lean manufacturing process improvement for companies that manufacture toilet paper. Right? And that's very, very small. But you know what? And it's kind of a joke, but it's not a joke, because honestly, like maybe not toilet paper, but something along those lines, because when he'll know exactly what people to target, right? What companies. There's like how many companies in the world that make toilet paper, right? And those are his potential customers. And if they find his blog and they hear about him and he's blogging about lean manufacturing specifically in the toilet paper industry, they are going to be like, holy crap, this guy is the expert. He knows our business and this problem better than anyone else. And that might seem extreme to you. If you're a software developer and you're niching down, I'm going to get it at the end of this video. Anyway, if you're a software developer and you're niching down, what you want to do is be that specific so that you're like tackling things like, don't be a C#, that's not your theme of your blog, or ASP.NET developer or whatever it is, Java developer. You want to be very specific to a framework, right? And even a specialization within that, if you can, when you're starting out, right? And so now I'm going to actually get to the point of the question. So Mario is asking me essentially, where do I go from there? And this is the problem that a lot of people have, is they say, okay, John, I get what you're saying. I don't quite believe it. You'd better believe it, because I'm telling you that's the way to success. Be that big fish. But anyway, suppose that you believe that. Then the next objection comes up, which is, well, won't I kind of pigeonhole myself? Won't I basically be trapped? I created a blog around this very small thing. In Mario's case, he was talking about creating it around a specific technology, a specific piece of software, right? That he doesn't even control. So what happens then when you want to expand out? So this is where things get interesting, right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story that I usually use to kind of illustrate this point. So Amazon, right? Okay, Amazon, when they started out, right, Amazon.com, what did they do? What did they specialize in, right? They specialized in books, just books. They didn't sell everything in the world. If you go to Amazon today, right now, I have Amazon Prime. I order everything off of Amazon Prime. Everything, right? 2-day shipping, bam, everything. I don't shop anywhere else. It's on Amazon, bam, I get it in 2 days, right? Sometimes faster than 2 days. So anyway, Amazon didn't start off with that business model. They started off niching down very narrowly to just books. In fact, I mean, maybe they could have even been more narrow than that. And I'm sure they probably had some more narrow strategy, right? But then what they did is they expanded into what's related to books, CDs and movies, right? And then they expanded further and further until they ended up selling everything. And that's what you can do as well, right? So when you're building up your brand and your reputation, right, you start off with a very small, narrow niche. Now, I didn't specifically, well, I did do this in my career, right? I started off, actually, I was a printer language specialist. I was a software developer that focused on printer and printer technology. That was my deep specialization, right? And that helped me a lot early in my career, got me a lot of opportunities. As I started to build up a reputation and repertoire, I started expanding that, right? I became, I had a few different transitions, right? Before I became sort of a really broad niche. My niche now, what is it? Making the complex simple. But what is it really? Well, it's soft skills for software developers. It's life advice. It's a life coach for software developers. That's a pretty broad thing, right? I talk about fitness. I talk about finance. I talk about increasing your salary, branding yourself, marketing yourself, having social skills, kind of the mental attitude and productivity. I talk about all these things related to, from a software developer viewpoint. But I'm going to go further than that, right? Because now I'm becoming the big fish in that space. So now I'm probably going to go mainstream. This is what I was talking about with those crazy metamorphosis videos that I was doing. It's now I can go to a bigger circle, and I don't have to be as niche down as I was before because I've got an audience. I've got a reputation. I've got history. I can say, hey, I became a millionaire in the software development space teaching people these skills. I can show you how to do it and talk that to the mainstream, right? I don't want to get too much into my strategy, but that's essentially the same strategy that you should employ, right? Which is basically, when I'm giving you this advice, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you the shortcut to success, right? It's very difficult to compete against a lot of people, right? And so if you don't specialize, okay, if you just try to be a generalist, or you try to build a name for yourself as a Java developer, a C# developer, good luck. That's going to be hard. I mean, no one's going to pay attention to you, right? Even if you're extremely good, you got to have something that sticks out about you. You got to dominate some space. If you become really well known in one particular area, one particular circle, your name gets spread around in that area, then you can expand out, and then you can utilize that because you have credibility in one area. People know you. You've gotten exposure. You've gotten on podcasts like .NET Rocks and Hansel Minutes and things like that. And that's exactly what I did. If you if you follow my career and watch my pattern, and you see that my circle keeps on expanding, and then my niche expands as well. And that's what I'm trying to do for you. I'm trying to help you to take a shortcut by being as narrowly focused as possible at first. That's going to get you the maximum exposure. You're going to be able to dominate that space because you won't have competition, and then you expand out. Then that's how you build a brand, build a reputation. You got to be known for something, right? If you look at the celebrity world, this happens all the time, right? There's usually, in fact, you get some artist with one breakout hit, right, in the music industry, like Shakira. What is that? Her song, whatever. I don't even remember the song. I don't really listen to mainstream stuff, but anyway, that happened. And a lot of movie stars, they have a very specialized role. A good one of my favorites, the big, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, right? He's a wrestling star, specialized, right? He had his kind of persona in his thing, and then he expanded out to different movies, and stopped using The Rock name, Dwayne Johnson now, his real name, and he's expanded out. And there's a lot of opportunity to do that, but you got to start somewhere. You got to build a name for yourself doing a particular thing that's very specific so that people know exactly who you are, and then you expand out to the next circle. And that's how you do it. I mean, that's how most people, when you look at their success, anytime you look at someone who's extremely famous or successful in a space, who's well known, you probably can trace their history back, and you can find out where they were known for one specific thing, one specialty, and then they expanded from that. They use that platform to launch to another platform. It's very, very hard to just come out onto the scene and just be famous, or just be well known, or just have a reputation, or have authority. And so that's the key. It's leapfrogging, right? You could think of it that way, as leapfrogging your way to success. So Mario, hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully that makes sense. And so to answer Mario's specific question, asking should I do this? Should I specialize in a specific technology? Yes, do it. Definitely do it, right? And being known for the guy in that space, like dominate that space totally. And then when you're ready to move on and grow from there, you should have a following. You should have an audience, a reputation. You've been published in some magazines. Maybe you've written a book, about that technology. And so now you can find something either parallel that you can kind of expand into, or maybe a concentric circle, a little bit larger, that realm that you can tackle and be known in that space, and then so on and so forth, however far you want to go. And some people just like to just stay really narrow focus, especially if it's a lucrative market. Some people want to expand. You have lots of options. You're never going to seal your fate unless you're not willing to change, right? You have to be willing to adapt and change, but as long as you are, then you'll be fine. So anyway, a little bit longer of a video, but I wanted to address this because I think a lot of people have hesitations around this, and they don't quite understand what is the bigger strategy. And I'll be totally honest with you, I didn't understand this either, right? I knew that having a niche was good, but I didn't see the bigger play and the bigger picture until it happened in my career. And I didn't do this intentionally, right? What I'm telling you, when I give you advice here, I'm giving you advice that took me 15, 20 years to kind of figure out and piece together, but haphazardly. I wasn't planning a lot of this out. I mean, now I am, but I wasn't then. And so I'm trying to give you a shortcut. I'm trying to say, hey, look, if I were to start over, if I were 20, just getting into this field or whatever, or I was trying to really skyrocket my career, this is the steps I would take. This is how I would establish myself, build a brand really quickly, and use that to propel myself forward. So anyway, that's it. If you have more questions about specialization, if this still doesn't make sense, leave a comment below and let me know. And I'm going to try and, I've got some systems in place to explain this. I want to create sort of a next level course for those of you that have bought my How to Market Yourself as a Software Developer course at devcareerboost.com. I want to create sort of the next level, the bigger course that would basically give you the full strategy, right? To say, okay, this is kind of the beginner strategy. This is what you need to know to get started. And then this is where we're going. This is how we get into the big leagues and really get to the point where you can make, you can make it an entrepreneurship business where you could make $1 million or whatever from this, and realistically achieve these goals, make really large incomes and really propel yourself forward. Because I've got the game plan now, but I haven't really put it into a system yet. So if you're interested in that system, definitely let me know. And if this doesn't make sense, definitely let me know, and subscribe. Talk to you next time.